Hey, welcome to Graphic Policy Television, GPTV. I'm Brett. In my hands is Marry Me a Little by Rob Kirby, a really kind of cute graphic novel published by Graphic Mundi. It's a graphic memoir. This is a straight-up graphic memoir about Rob Kirby's marriage before Obergefell versus Hodges, which is the Supreme Court decision that made same-sex marriage legal in the United States. And it's an interesting read, partially because I was waiting for something really horrible to happen. And I know that sounds weird, but it's just kind of a Kirby journal, like his recounting of what it's like and kind of the shift pre-Supreme Court decision, post-Supreme Court decision, and post-Trump election about same-sex marriage, and I think it's really, really interesting. And what's also kind of intriguing is when he got married, wasn't too far, I think, before I got married. And actually, the Supreme Court decision was 2015. Same-sex marriage was illegal in Virginia, and I'm straight. Married to a woman, but part of the decision of where we wanted to get married was based off of that. We decided to do it in Maryland because Virginia was discriminating, and it just didn't feel right. And it's kind of interesting to read this in that Kirby's kind of outlook on it is very similar to mine. Marriage is wonderful. It's absolutely fantastic, but it really is kind of a business contract. In the end, the quote at the end is, "Marriage doesn't define a relationship unless you want it to," and Kirby kind of goes through these motions of he's not super excited about it, not pumped about it, but just kind of wants it legal, wants those benefits, wants to get things settled, and likes the safety that kind of comes with it is the vibe I got. And I kind of look at it in a very similar situation. Is it's a document. It doesn't really change much beyond legal stuff. I love my wife. It's awesome. But in the end, signing that document didn't really make a whole lot of difference when it came to that. I just now legally am bonded to her. And it's a very interesting read because of that. I think it's also interesting in that Kirby kind of touches upon it in that, going into that, it was one of those of, this wasn't something that he necessarily thought was possible. So was there that kind of detachment in some ways because of that? In the end, it was hey, how are we going to get married? And Kirby's like, yeah, we'll just kind of go down. And the man he was married to was like, no, I want to look good. And Kirby's like, okay. There's this kind of I won't say a lack of excitement, but there's kind of this weird break between that of you just don't get the sense that Kirby's super excited about the process or the event and all that, but what it represents, he is. He does like that aspect of it, that there's some legality to it in many ways, and I think that to me is the really interesting aspect of it. Going post marriage, it touches on the Trump election, and a lot of that has to do with the threat that loomed over it, and unlike Kirby, this is something that I don't have to worry about, and I think it really emphasizes that in a good way, is that though it is legal, there are forces who are fighting to take that right away, that want to see that right taken away, and it's something that people in hetero relationships don't have to worry about, that their marriage, no matter what, will likely be legal unless marriage as a whole is struck down. But people who are in same-sex relationships, same-sex marriages, that is something they do have to worry about. Something could happen to take their rights away. There's arguments about that, but still, we don't know what that future has. It's settled, but it's not, and I think it's a really interesting thing that is kind of emphasized by Kirby, and then Kirby just kind of, while it's looming, reminds us that in the end, that doesn't change his relationship. He's still with the person he loves. They're still doing the things they normally would do. They are caring for each other. They're, you know, buying condos and living their lives and going through those motions. So in the end, it's a piece of paper. It's a legal document. But how they interact, how they stay together, like in the end, that's what's important. And I think Kirby emphasizes that a decent amount. You know, it sucks that they have, you know, he has to go through that anyone has to go through that, you know, dark cloud hanging over them type of thing, that you never know. But, you know, I think he has the right attitude in that in the end, it's a piece of paper, it's a legal document. It doesn't, you know, losing that doesn't necessarily change the relationship. It will change things legally, potentially, but it doesn't necessarily change who he loves, who he spends his time with, what they do, you know, that aspect of it. And I think that it's a very, very good outlook on things. So, you know, it's an interesting graphic novel. I think it's, you know, it's one person's perspective, it's one person's experience, but it also really kind of, I think, nails down, you know, a point in history, and a very important point in history. You know, it's going to be, you know, hopefully 10, you know, knock on wood, 10, 20 years from now, like, we're not even going to question this. But, you know, it's good to have this documentation to remember when. So when people do ask in the future, what's it like, you know, you can get firsthand accounts and perspectives and how things were. The art is solid, very, you know, alt cartoon comics. It's in this like weird, there's this like weird red and black kind of coloring that almost looks like, and brown a little bit here and there, that almost kind of looks like crayon. It's interesting. It's kind of cool. I like it, and eventually it just kind of like, it didn't even faze me, but it's, I think, a really intriguing use of color, like a minimal use of color. And, you know, there's some kind of cool scenes like this, really interesting pages. It's an interesting style, but yeah, I mean, to me overall, this feels like a really intriguing journal entry that is done as a graphic memoir, and it's totally cool like that. So yeah, it's a, you know, something that putting that flag down for history. It's solid. I think it's really good. It's really important, and having someone's perspective like this is great because you never know what the future brings. So you can go get this. This is out in comic shops. We got a link beneath this video. Put in your zip code. It'll tell the comic shops near you. No shop, no problem. We do have some links where you can purchase your own. There'll be affiliate links, so we do get a small percentage by doing that. You'll support our site. I want to thank Graphic Mundi for hooking us up with this review copy. We appreciate it. And of course, thank you all for watching. And if you want the latest comic news, reviews, whatever, check us out every single day at graphicpolicy.com. We're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Tumblr, Instagram, TikTok, and Mastodon. All Graphic Policy, keeping it nice and consistent. Until next time, keep reading those comics, and keep it geeky. Hey, thanks for watching the previous video from Graphic Policy Television. Just by watching, you help support our site. Thank you so much. Now, if you're watching these videos, you probably care about geeky things like movies, television, comic books, toys, games, video games, you name it. You can go and subscribe right now to our YouTube channel to stay in touch and catch all the new videos, or check out our website at graphicpolicy.com. There's a nice link on this end of the video. But as always, thank you for watching. Keep on rocking and keep it geeky.